Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of a Realtor, where we are building beautiful realtor physiques one exercise at a time. I'm your personal trainer, Mike Seeler, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Kent Broughton. And Kent is both a Century 21 colleague and a web guru. A side hustle he has is called Bench Metrics. They geek out over analytics. So if you have a Phoenix watch like me, then you know something about wanting to track your steps and your calories. Well, Kent, what keeps him up at night is how much traffic is going to his website. So, can you tell me a little bit about your story with just in the whole web field and introduce your company there, Kent?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been with Century 21 since 2010. And it was about 2017. We were as a brokerage, we were spending a lot of money with the third party lead gen companies, doing the traditional Google PPC, let's lock people out, give them a horrible user experience, but capture their name and phone number. And it just seemed like, a lot of our agents were coming back with like, these are terrible leads. This is stupid. Why am I paying for this? And we looked at the budget and thought, like, how can we do this better? How can we not just let the Realtor.ca's, the Zillows, all those companies take our hard work of getting listings and display them and take all our traffic. So we invest. So I started really going down that road to the end of 2017, early 2018, and start really focusing on my digital presence. I quickly realized I'm not a creative social media, Facebook, influencer type person. So that's social media is a tool for me, but it's not what I focus on. And I really got into, the complex world of SEO, where, you have an idea of what's going on, but Google never tells you exactly how their algorithm works. And I just really started looking at my market and started building content. There was ups and downs, but it's transformed my business to the point where I don't do open houses. I don't go out prospecting. I deal with my past clients, my sphere of influence, and I just deal with online leads that ask me for more information on properties.
So good, so good. Um, so let me ask you a question, Ken. What was the first car that you ever drove? Your first car? Do you recall it? I know mine.
It was an Olds 88.
Old '88. That's like a
Yeah.
silhouette.
It's like a Pontiac, I think.
Oh,
No,
Pontiac.
it's my mom's car. I was like, I won't tell you how old I was. I grew up on a farm, so let's say that.
Sounds like a long car. Mine
Yeah.
was a Hyundai Sonata, and the cars of the '80s and '90s. Tell me if these cars give you bad images in your head: Plymouth Breeze, Pontiac Sunfire, Dodge Intrepid, Chrysler Imperial, and the Chevrolet Capri. And
Yeah.
so I want to go a certain direction here because I think that there's three types of websites that are existing today. And the one is these old beater websites that they're broken, they're rusty, they look awful, they give you zero confidence. And I want to say I wouldn't even say half. Like a lot of people are starting to upgrade to, these third party websites that, promise them the moon, that sort of thing. And they look all right. But if you're stuck with an old website, I want to tell you right now that it is not helping you. I just did a video on the top 10 reasons realtors fail. It was only reason number 10, so it's not the do all and end all. But if people are landing on your website and it looks like trash and it's broken, then you might be losing them right there at the door. So having an impressive looking website to me is step number one. So it goes on to my second point. The second type of car I think about is like a Maserati, a Ferrari, a Bentley, or a Lamborghini. And while these cars might not be overly smart cars, they look good. And I want to encourage our viewers today to step outside your own ability. If you don't have the ability to make a nice looking website using one of these platforms, then hire out. This is your resume. You don't need 2,000 pages. We'll get into that in a moment. But talk a little bit about that. Like even the service that you provide, I believe it's directly to C21ers using the MoxieWorks platform. But talk to like costs and not maybe not your own costs, but you know, how important is that for agents to have impressive looking websites?
Oh, I think it's hugely important, right? Like, most people nowadays start their search online, right? So, I always look at it like people are like, well, I got to compete against all these third party companies, and to me, you got to look in first and say, well, you're not. It's not just new leads. It's not just new people. It's what if I look at it as like, what if one of my friends tells one of their friends about me, and that friend is like, I'm going to do my due diligence and I'm going to look them up
Right.
online before I give them a call. If they don't like what they see, you didn't know that friend tried to refer you. So it's not all about just generating all these new online leads. It's actually showing, like, if somebody's willing to refer you, that if that person they referred does research, that they should end up with you, right? So you
Yeah.
really want to make yourself stand out, and for clients to display their listings, things like that, make it easy, searchable. User experience is something that you look at these older websites and you're like, it's almost like no one ever thought of back,
Right.
15, 20 years ago, that and a lot of these guys have never updated their websites. I just looked at a website that a realtor got in 2005 and it's the exact same. And it's a website vendor. There was just no, they just didn't have the need or feel the need that they had to update the website because they were paying their $60 a month,
Hmm.
right? So that to me, that's huge. Is like is it's not everything, but it's one of the main pillars in real estate nowadays. If
Yeah.
you don't have a good website, even the people that are looking for you might not use you.
Yeah, and I agree. Those are the two pillars. When you think about it, don't think about lead generation and how you're going to, rank on the first page of Google and all that stuff. But what happens when somebody intentionally looks for you because they've heard about you from a friend or a family, they met you at an event and they're like, "Hey, I'm considering using Kent." And they look you up and your website looks like trash, they may stop right there. And the second part is listings, right? Like when you get a listing, people, even though the reality is our websites are not the number one sites when people are searching listings, they are looking on the realtor.ca's and the major brand websites. Sellers want to know that their listing is appearing on your website and it looks good. So it's about how we appear to our clients, and that's the first step. So the next type of car, when I think about these three types of cars, are the Tesla Model 3 with its kind of autopilot driving, and then the Mercedes S-Class with its self-parking kind of feature. And these cars and the cars of the future are going to like give us value. Like the other one doesn't do anything for us. One looks good, and the other one gives to us. Like the idea of getting into a vehicle and being able to multitask or do other things. And so having a website that works for you, I want to talk about that because I think a lot of, I mean, when we talk about the car that looks good, I mean, the advice is really hire somebody. Like, get out there, get your website looking good, get it working, and set it, and almost forget it. I mean, if it's just one or two landing pages kind of thing. When we're talking to people who are interested in having their websites rank on the first page of Google and converting leads and stuff like that, that's all very possible. We both experienced that in our individual websites. And so let's talk about I guess let's talk about SEO first. Like what's new on the SEO side of things? Like how do we get our websites to start to rank up and compete against the major brands and the Realtor.ca's, the Zillows? It can be done. It can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah,
There's a couple different things. I think first thing I think agents got to get into their mindset is like they are the subject matter expert of their communities that they service.
100%.
The Zillows
Yep.
aren't. The Realtors.ca's aren't. They're taking your listings, pulling in a data feed, and know the square footage, where it is on Google, with a pin, once the bedrooms, bathrooms, the price range. Beyond that, they don't know anything about your community, and that's where I think we have a huge advantage. Is beyond what's getting pulled in that data feed. Why are people buying in my community? Are they coming because there's a military base? Are they coming for a university? Are they coming for something specific? And some of the easiest SEO is to build search content around that type of thing, because these other big companies don't know to do that because
No.
they're not in your community. So
Hmm.
that to me has been a huge success for me. Or things that aren't inherently searchable, like on realtor.ca, you can't just search by basement suites, let's say. But you can build content about, and put listings on your website with basement suites. And that's one of the things where I get leads all the time. I rank on Google, or and just start narrowing it down further and further. To everyone on this call, uh, doing search pages by specific condo buildings had a huge impact on my business.
Hmm.
There's a couple buildings in Saskatoon I get calls on all the time, and I've never had a listing in them. But my website ranks for those specific buildings.
Right.
But a Zillow, a Realtor.ca, they wouldn't drill down that deep. They don't have the context of knowing that, right?
Hmm.
So look for the low hanging fruit. Look for the things that make your market different, that isn't just on everybody's websites. And the starting point with that, in my opinion, is I just start Googling stuff, because then it suggests other searches. Or
Hmm.
get a Google Ads account and go to the keyword planner. You don't got to spend any money on Google. Just start searching, key phrases, see the search volume, see how much competition is on there, and start building content around that, because you can win. You absolutely can beat these companies
Hmm.
uh, by putting in effort. But it's consistency over time. Like, that's what it is. There's a couple ways to look at it. Like you said, if you want to do a couple really nice pages for the people that are going to find you, so that they know, like, hey, when I use this guy, I'm going to get good service, or things like that. But if you want to be that guy that competes against these companies, there you have to put in effort consistently. You have to make time in your business for this, because the traditional lead gen type online services are not going to, like, the things we've been doing for the last 15 years, where the lockout of the website to make people mad and
Hmm.
get their information. That's not going to work. I mean, T360 just came out with a report. I think it said the closing ratio on those are like 0.34%, so not even half a percent.
Right.
But people are still willing to spend $3,000-4,000 a month, because you get the lead. It's an instant gratification. But when you're talking SEO, you're talking years of growth, right?
Mm.
But the return is, once you kind of get some of these rankings, you know, the leads just start coming in, and that's when you can set and forget those pages a little bit. Just do a little maintenance,
Hmm.
which is where most of my business comes in. Is leads off other people's listings at this point on my website.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So, yeah, I don't know if you use the term, but the term is hyper local pages. And I like the terminology low hanging fruit. And I want to, give a reality check to you guys watching. If you could show up number one result on all the real estate searches, you couldn't handle it. You
Mm-hmm.
couldn't handle, 90,000 hits a day or a month for the real estate searches in my area, that sort of thing. And people are browsing, and it would just be overwhelming. But to get specific about specific topics that you care about, uh, like how many transactions does the average realtor want to do in a year? Like 20,
Mm-hmm.
30 transactions. So to think about it that way, like, how do I get a lead from a source, like a page that I've built, that's a much healthier perspective. And so to start to build a page on a specific condo that you know everything about, or a park or an area that you're very familiar with, and you can position yourself as that expert of that niche area. That's where, and I've done this, and like in a city where I live, Owen Sound, there's a condo. I don't even know the name of the actual condo. I just did this for fun, but it's pink. The color of the condo is pink, so everyone calls it the pink condo. So, I mean, like you said, Zillow doesn't know it's the pink condo. They know it as the name of the condo. But if I were to search for the pink condo, my website comes up as number one, and all of a sudden I can put in a search criteria for condos, within that page, so that when people say pink condo for sale, my page is number one. On that page, it's a landing page. When people get there, they can see all the condos for sale, including the blue condo. So yeah, think building out a page or 10 about very specific, and like you're saying, like, you want to set and forget it. So try not to make it too specific, or you just have to be mindful that in 2 years from now, that if it becomes outdated, it can work against you as well. So try to keep that in mind, I guess.
For sure. And I guess one more point there too is with when you when you're building your pages. I mean, with Benchmetrics, we're obviously a data first party data aggregator. So I get the privilege of seeing that, when we look at everything, the average real estate agent or brokerage website gets less than 1.5 page views per visit, and that's really because they land on their website. There's a search bar. There's no other information. Most websites I can land on, I don't even know what city they're from, right? And people leave. My website gets 18 pages per visit on average.
Wow.
And that's because, you land on that subject you're building. You want to be able to, you want to create links to similar things on your website, like internal links that just create a spider web within your website. And that's what works for me is so you have the pink building, like you said, but then you have check out other condo buildings in Owen Sound, and they start clicking on those, and it just links it helps pull it all up, and it also keeps people engaged in your site. And as they go down that funnel, there's a higher chance they're going to find what they're looking for by you creating this funnel and them reaching out to you and saying, hey, I'm interested, can you send me more information, or can I book a showing on this property?
So good. Yeah, you have to kind of visualize what people are going through, and we have our own personal experiences. Like if you don't like a certain experience on a website, then don't create that experience, or try to consider how you like, or which websites you like, and what's causing you to click through several times. I mean, it is advertising, marketing. There's a form of manipulation there, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Where, like you said, you're trying to deliver what people are actually looking for, and we don't always know that. I mean, they might catch them on the pink condo, but they were actually looking for the blue condo, and I wanted to make sure that when they they take that bite of the vegetables on the tray, that you have some meat and carbs where they can taste everything, taste a few things. And so I'm always most of my websites, you're putting in some video content. I always think either go to another page or stay on my page longer, right? And so I'm thinking when they first get to the page, you want to attract them. As soon as they get down and you feel like you might start to lose some interest, put a video in there. If they click play on that video, you might have them for a few minutes longer. And again, I don't understand it all, but I know that Google, they're saying, hey, if legitimately if someone's staying on your website for 5 minutes and the average is 30 seconds, well, there's something better about that. Google doesn't necessarily they just want to deliver what people are looking for, right? And they do that through click-throughs and time spent on websites. So
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's thousands of things they analyze, but there's only a handful within our control, right? It's what kind of can I create engaging enough content to keep people there, like you said, to either keep them on that page. And I think you do a great job with videos. That's something that I'm just really starting to get into, because I look at it I've had success with on-page SEO and things like that, but seeing the power of Google owning YouTube and YouTube itself, it's a deadly combination when you really start to work together on those type of things.
Yeah, for sure. When we talk about optimization, speed, mobile, what's the other word for mobile friendly? Where things change. Not optimized. Anyway, when people take a regular website and it converts into mobile. I'm looking for a term. I'm losing it. That's okay. But anyway, when we think about optimization and speed and stuff, what's important right now, and what comes to mind for you?
Well, I think in our business, the one of the most important things that really doesn't reflect other businesses is when you're signing up with a website vendor, ask them how often they pull the listings from your MLS. Right? There's so in Saskatchewan, it can be pulled every 15 minutes. Some website vendors, because the more they pull with speed and pulling listings, it all depends on the vendor's servers, right? So the more they pull, the bigger expense to your website vendor. The faster they make your website, most likely there's more cost to them through their Amazon Web Server account or whatever it is. So if I'm listing a house, I don't want my listing to not show up within the quickest time possible compared to some vendors who update every 24 hours because it's cheaper for them to do that. So that's a huge thing to look at, is like, how often do you upload listings? And then on top of that, there's certain vendors, because pictures are the biggest files going to your website, is if I put in, I list a house in February, it doesn't sell right away, and in the spring I want to change the exterior pictures, does it update the pictures on a daily basis? Because some don't. There's a few vendors that last summer, I won't say what brand it was, but I seen a listing of mine shared in a community group off someone else's website, and they were the old exterior pictures that I had updated like 3 months prior. So I was like, wow, like that, it looks like I'm doing a bad job out of season, even though it's just because their website didn't upload the new pictures, right, because they don't update pictures. So those are two factors. Speed is
get
always
a call from your seller client saying, "I saw my listing on someone else's website." And,
I didn't. I usually don't. I usually rank quite well for my own listings, so they don't have trouble finding when I do it.
That's good. That was the answer we were looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like utilizing YouTube with using the address as your title, city, province, you should be able to rank on the first page of Google for that YouTube video, realistically. Maybe not condos, but single family homes for sure.
And you can do it within minutes.
Within minutes.
I mean, it's crazy. I make a video and then I search for a topic, and video is already there, and then you put that video on your website, and it supports that whole hyperlocal and
and backlink in the description of the video on YouTube back to your website, so it creates that back and forth, right? So, right. I think that like video and YouTube and is probably, well, let's be honest, the majority of agents aren't doing anything with their websites, which is a huge loss, absolutely huge loss in our business. The ones that are doing it, a lot of them are like, oh, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want to be on YouTube, like I'm scared to show my face. Make a tour without you in it. Like, just like a lot of it has to do with like your title of your video, the strength of the backlink, embedding it into your website. So there's a lot more factors, and you don't have to talk. If you're not comfortable, at least do something with it, right? And then I think the last thing we haven't even touched on is the amount of agents that come across that don't have a Google business listing, right? Like, to me, if you're going to do one thing online, get a Google business listing, because if people are, that's where people find you. And what we're finding is the average agent that doesn't do anything with their website and has a Google business listing, their Google business listing is seen at least 10 times more than their website is. That's pretty crazy. That if you get 10 people to your website, there's a good chance 100 people are finding your Google business listing. So it's free. Like, it's just another free tool, just like your YouTube channel. Like, it's amazing that we get inundated as realtors from, like, you say, oh, another California number is phoning me, and I pick it up, and it's like, we do this for you. We get the greatest, latest, awesomest thing ever, and it's only going to cost you $1,000 a month. But then we don't utilize the free tools from the biggest search engine in the world that to maximize things that we can do and are within our control, instead of just doling out money constantly with these calls we get every day as realtors.
For sure. That is the single most important thing I emphasize in our office here. I don't know if you saw me at conference, but I had a booth at the Century 21 conference with my number one secret for,
Is that a secret?
That is, right? And it was so fun as agents came up to the booth, and I talked with them a little bit, and I quickly just Googled their name, and I saw their Google Maps profiles, or lack thereof. And, while they were making a donation to Easter Seals, I'm like, oh, you are going to benefit from this so large. And the second half of that is, don't just have a Google profile, but get reviews on it, because it changes the algorithm. I didn't check your Google Maps profile, but I'm going to hit you up afterwards, make sure that you have lots of juicy reviews. That's a video for another time, how to make sure that you maximize that Google Maps profile.
For sure.
But just having your website on there, and making sure that when people click on your website, it either goes to that Maserati or that Tesla, and helps convert the lead. So just before I got on this, I was on your website, and you have a chatbot feature, which I want to talk about. But I know with AI today, the whole chatbot and it really becoming in tune with you. I forget the terminology that was used at the last conference I was at, but AI today can really learn who Kent is and speak like Kent, and you can upload like all of your emails, that sort of thing, so it can really learn you. But tell me about the chatbot, because I start talking to you through your website. I got a text message right away. How how are you using it? How does it work? Tell me about it.
So, so this is actually a Canadian company out of Mississauga that developed this chatbot. It's real estate specific. Um, for a broker manager, they actually have a recruitment specific chatbot, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
But what it does is, for me, you're out showing houses. You can't respond to everybody. You want the thing when you're talking about when you're talking about like the best car in the world or the best website in the world. One of the things that sets them apart is giving people the reason to contact you or making it easy for them to contact you. So mobile, if 80% of your traffic like mine is on your phone, you don't want to make it hard to here's a contact me page and then have to fill out the form. You want to make it as easy as possible. So I find what this chatbot for me does, it's very engaging. I used to have my Facebook Messenger on my website, which is free. If you want some kind of engagement tool, you can embed your Facebook Messenger code from your business page on your website and talk to people that way. You can turn off the guest mode, meaning they're always it's a real person you're talking to every time, and you can get back to them later. It's just it doesn't engage with them. So what the chatbot does for me is when they engage with it, like, hey, I'm a buyer, I'm looking for I'm a renter, I'm a seller, whatever. It starts the conversation. It gives me an opportunity, because I'm not sitting on my website 24 hours a day, just like everyone else isn't, right? So it'll ask them, hey, I'm looking to buy a home. Okay, what's your name? What's your email? What's your phone? And once it collects that contact information, it actually texts me and says, hey, here's this person. They're on your website right now. Click this link and you can take over the chat. So I can
good.
go in there. I can go in there, and then you are talking with me, and it totally changes the dynamic of the conversation.
Can you
And
name
then,
drop that company or the app?
yeah, iChat, Agent
I chat.
iChat.
Okay.
I will tell you through if you do want to sign up, you can email me because I can get you a massive discount off of what they charge.
Oh, nice. So good.
With Benchmetrics, they've made a deal which is quite a savings off what they show on their website. So,
Cool.
but the next step is, like, let's say I'm busy showing houses or I'm doing something, and I can't get to that person online. You can customize the questions, and it'll keep asking questions, right? Like, oh, where do you want to buy? What's your price range? How many bedrooms? How many baths? Are you pre-approved for a mortgage? And then they're like, okay, do you want us to have an agent reach out to you? Yes, no. Then it collects that information and sends it to me again. Email, this is the person. You have all this information on them. Gives me a little more, ammo when I phone them to say, hey, you were there. This is what you're looking for. Or I can even pull up some listings or send them some listings before I even call them right away. So
Yeah.
it's just you need as many calls to action or CTAs as possible, and with the way AI is rising, you need more interactive stuff. Like, everything seems to be more and more interactive. You can't just have a stagnant form, right? Like, even now we've developed a home evaluation form that's connected to Google Maps because people seem more like to start typing in their address and seeing it populate rather than filling out that just stagnant form, which is something we just released at Benchmetrics.
Nice.
So it's getting back to the chatbot. I just think it's another powerful tool that if you're
Yeah.
if you don't just jump into that thing, you're getting leads. Analyze your traffic. If you're not getting a decent amount of traffic on your website, don't invest in paid tools. That
Right.
because these paid tools aren't going to create the traffic to your website. You need to create that traffic first, then invest in the tools. I don't care if it's
Interesting.
$10-$20 a month for these tools, but if no one's going to your website, you're paying money for nothing. So I never promote these properties unless you are getting some consistent or these type of products, unless you're getting consistent traffic to your website.
Yeah. Well, and I even think like you can do the organic traffic, but I'm thinking of even some realtors who are paying for website traffic to come, Google ads and that sort of thing, and that could be a nice tool to add on to
Absolutely.
it. So if you're whether it's organic or paid, that could be a good supplementing tool to use. Very cool, and I almost think that it goes from a cold lead to not quite warm, but it's cool. Like it's a warming lead where they've engaged, they felt that there was a certain personal touch to it. And if you jump on that call, I mean, uh, like right away, they're impressed. But yeah, getting back to them shortly thereafter is um, super effective as well.
Yeah, I mean the goal is your closing ratio would be exponentially higher if you can jump on there while they're there.
Right.
Absolutely, speed to
Yeah.
lead, or whatever they want to call it. The longer you wait, the more likely they're moved on to another website,
Right.
right? So you are right. You're 100%. Like just it keeps you on there just a little bit longer, giving me another few seconds to make that phone call or take over the lead. And then the next thing I do actually is it feeds right into my CRM. And if I don't make that call, they actually get a text from me saying, "Hey, you were engaging with my chatbot. I can get back to you right away. Did you have any specific questions?" So then it continues the conversation through my
Mm-hmm.
CRM.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's what I love about the Moxie site. And it's not even a plug for Moxie necessarily. There's a lot of good websites doing this. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are scouting, consider a website that ties in your website and CRM like that. And you're starting to convert a website that's more like that Tesla that has, features that give back to you and help convert leads. So yeah, very cool. What else did I? Oh, I was just going to ask you, like, in terms of what's new, what's kind of a hack that you're working on, like. I'll start. Like, there's two things that I do to drive traffic to websites. One would be, just being part of groups and stuff. So I operate one of the largest like Ontario Farms and Land Facebook groups, and just I mean, there's 100,000 guests or members in this group, and every time like I frown on these people putting listings and they just put descriptions there where you can like I drop a listing from my website in there with a description, and the click through on that is I haven't checked recently, but we could get 500 1,000 click throughs. I don't know how Google sees that. Again, it's got to be better than nothing. Can you speak to that actually before I go on to the next one? Like how does Google like the algorithms and SEO, or not SEO, the algorithms work when they're like click through links like that versus organic search?
Well, it's just another pillar of SEO, right? Like backlinks. So
Yeah.
you see all these companies advertising like, we can get you 100 or 1,000 backlinks. But for one thing, the first thing to think about when you're looking at that is, are they relevant to my industry or do they have strong domain authority? So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like I'm not the greatest at like my Facebook business page. I'm not making like fantastic posts. Both, if you go there, most of my posts are literally backlinks to pages I want to help rank on Google. So the backlinking from Facebook, backlinking from YouTube, backlinking from LinkedIn, any of your social media channels does help with your SEO. And then
Yeah.
the more
Cool.
people that click on it, obviously it helps even more and more. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, that you got your organic, you got your direct, you got your like backlinking. If you can start really getting benefit out of those, the less and less budget you're going to have to spend on buying leads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's free. It's free traffic. And I
Hmm.
would go as far to say we have the reciprocity built into our website, so we're all compliant.
Hmm.
And for you to go onto a group in your community, take a listing from your website that has a unique URL and go plug it in. It doesn't have to be your listing. You can just say, great new listing, just listed. I mean, pick on the realtors that are, old realtors. They don't have websites. They're not on Facebook, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, you're bringing exposure to that listing. When they click through it, it's all your contact information on there. It has the reciprocity. It says whose listing it is. You're compliant, and that's a free way to get traffic to your website and to pick up business. So yeah, I promote that a lot to my agents. Actually, the second idea actually came from your website when I was on it today, and you have a tab called Open Houses, and I thought right from there I went back to our websites and I was kind of analyzing the filter features, and I love the filters because now all of a sudden you can have a custom search for luxury homes or homes between 500 and 600,000, and all of the different searches. You have to think about your own marketplace and what's trending and what's good. The open houses I liked, but it got me thinking of one that might be just a little bit better than that, because people love new, right? They're like, what's the latest? And so we have a feature on our sites, listed less than, and you can go less than 2 days, and all of a sudden we can create these custom ads that say, just listed in this city within the last 48 hours. Click on the link, and now we're driving people who want to see the latest listing in the city. So that's an ad I have. Actually, I have my web girl working on the page, the landing page, and our graphic designer doing some clickbait kind of ads for Facebook. And again, it's just about getting people to click through. And when they see something they like and they click on more information, we're getting those leads. So it's a big
That's
part of websites for me is, now that we have it, how can we get people on it? And organic is one thing, paid's another thing, and then the third element is, how do we like push it into groups and out there on social media, that sort of thing.
well, and how do you get those people to keep coming back, right? So, there's so many lead gen companies out there, like who I can, endless amount of names. You can never remember them all, but and you, as agents, everyone knows how to boost a post, or on Google's like basic non-expert plan. You can just create an ad super simple. A lot of times I've had realtors that gets out of control and their credit card gets charged $700 because they forgot how to.
Oh, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, but for me, I kind of just lost my train of thought when we went on that tangent there. Yeah, what were we just talking about? I just kind of went off there. Oh, sorry, drip campaigns I was getting to. Yes. So the best so now with these leads, I have drip campaigns for almost any kind of subject built into my CRM. So like when I get a lead and I see what they've inquired on, even if they inquire, they don't always answer your phone calls back, right? So you need the switch now is, it's pretty easy to generate a lead online, but how do you convert that lead, right? So that page, why I thought of that is that page you were just talking about, the most clicked on link in my drip campaigns is homes listed in the last 7 days in Saskatoon.
There you go.
That's the page
Right?
that's the one
Yeah.
that it's the highest click-through rate and the lowest unsubscribe rate of my drip campaign emails. So
Nice.
you're right on that. People, it almost like creates a sense of urgency, right? So
Yeah.
they want that information. They're like, oh, it's the newest, it's the greatest, it's the latest, right? So that's an excellent idea. I would share that everywhere, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm reluctant to ask this because you've implied that you're using your website that automatically funnels into your CRM, that automatically starts this campaign. Is there a manual component? Because I don't feel like my current CRM, what I use, has that automatic component. So is that something we want to talk about, or how does
That's
that?
something. So that's something we are working on with Benchmetrics.
Nice, cool.
We have access for our Century 21 system. We've gotten access to play with some APIs for the Engage system. So there
Nice.
is some stuff you will have access to make that kind of stuff easier in your life
Yeah,
in
cool.
the not so
Yeah, yeah.
distant future. Plus, I know they're coming out with Active Pipe campaign kind of like follow-up system the next, I think, 90 days or so, which will change what we're doing, I think, as Century 21 agents too when it comes to follow-up.
Oh, so cool, so cool. Yeah, because I mean, the best CRM is one that is used, and so I don't know what the stats are, but I'm assuming that it's in the high 90s of agents who aren't actively or properly using a CRM, and so it's just something I'm always, trying to promote to my agents, like, get on it, start using it, and there's so many options out there, but to me it doesn't, like, get your contacts in there. There's some drip campaigns. What I love about Moxie Engage, it has that AI feature of prompting you as to who to connect with and when to connect with them, and it's connected with our website and our email, so there's a lot of great functionality there. Yeah, what any other kind of hacks, or what's kind of new and exciting?
I don't know if it's really a hack, but it was just one day, it was just kind of an epiphany of, we build out all this content for like to display listings, right? Like we got neighborhoods, like specific properties, RMs, farm, cottages, and we're showing buying. And then I'm sitting there looking, I was like, we all got like one home evaluation page on our website. Like we got like one or two pages that like capture sellers. Like, should we not like you list to live in this business, right? So like,
Right.
why are we not focusing more on seller content? So, the last few months I've went down that road, and now I'm building home evaluation pages for every community I service to be that keyword specific, and all of a sudden
Interesting.
I'm getting inquiries for like even as low as neighborhoods, right? Like I live in the
Yeah.
neighborhood of Evergreen, Saskatoon. I have a whole home evaluation page about talking about getting your home evaluated in Evergreen because you got to
We're
feel.
cutting this section out of the video. No, just kidding. You guys heard it. Now go and make some hyper local pages for home valuations, which I haven't done. Right, like I've created hundreds of hyper local pages, and I haven't thought of that. So it's a great idea.
The other
Yeah.
thing. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying. I mean, as you were saying, is like yeah, like being able to land on a site and even have like a left and a right, like buyer or seller, like just that idea that if it's a seller landing there, give them a seller experience, right? Our websites are always so buyer based, and it's like no, we want leads, we want selling seller leads. So carry on.
Well, and a lot of these sellers are they're snooping around to see what houses are listed, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all of my neighborhood pages have a button like you have a home to sell in this neighborhood, get a free home evaluation, right? Like on each different page. So and it was just like even I've been really focused on this for 5 or 6 years, and it was probably last fall when I'm like, wait, why have I never really focused on this? Like why if you can consistently get listings, imagine how much your life would change as an agent if you're just listing properties and not having to be out on Saturday night showing properties.
That's the
Like,
dream.
exactly, right. So that's been my main focus because I think that's just so underutilized in every market. I haven't found a website where there's any real robust search options for selling. Like
Hmm.
obviously you go to my homepage, you're only going to see one home evaluation because I don't want to overpopulate my navigation and make the user
I
experience
thought I
worse.
found two actually.
Well, maybe there's two.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just before the call, I was on there and I was like, oh, interesting. There's two areas where home valuations show up.
Well, and we're at Benchmetrics. We're actually creating some different home evaluation pages, so the experience isn't the exact same. And
Right.
my purpose for that is like seller leads for drip campaigns, so that so that the link to go to my website when they land on it, it's not always the exact same experience. Some
Mm-hmm.
are more interactive, some are less interactive. But that's kind of something that we're working on to
Mm-hmm.
be able to plug in things like that. Because a lot of websites, every form's the exact same, whether it's
Right.
recruitment, selling, buying. So the experience, isn't there's nothing unique or interesting about the experience. So that's one thing we're really working on is making these different like buyer forms a little more attractive depending on what they're for, making different options for sending out what your seller forms are, and that's just based on what the data we collect to see who what percentage of people are actually filling out these forms. Some websites like mine, we've tagged it out to the point where I can tell you what percentage stops at their name or what percentage stops at their phone number and don't hit that submit button. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge focus for us.
Nice, nice. So at this point, I'm going to actually just say that we're going to put both of our websites, our number one websites, my company website, Ken's individual website, on the screen here. And after this video, I'd encourage you guys to go and look at them and look at the work that we've put into them when we talk about user experience. And Ken certainly has a little bit more functionality in his, which I'm looking forward to getting onto mine. But I've put a ton of work into just that whole SEO side, hyper local pages. I've probably a couple hundred pages as well. And what last thing I noticed on your website is you actually have your phone number in your in the toolbar or the bar at the top, and it's clickable. So I've been saying that to agents a lot lately. Is not that, but make sure that your phone number and your email is very apparent, like right near the top. I mean, it has no SEO value there, except when people land on your website and they can't even see your phone number or your email without like, I mean, how many websites I got to tell you? I scroll all the way to the bottom. The only phone number is the office phone number. You click the contact page or the about me page. It's not on there. Finally, you find a number, but make sure that phone number is there and clickable because they may have searched you and that's all they want. They just want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, and that's part of what part of the package that Benchmetrics offers to Century 21 agents and brokerages. Um, Another thing you might notice too is my navigation is probably on the opposite side of the screen of yours on mobile too. And that's a data tracking thing too. Is only 10% of people are left-handed in Canada, so it's a worse user experience than having it on the right side of the screen.
Right.
So we notice people will stay on your site longer if you make it easier. And with how big our phones are, I mean, I'm left-handed, so I liked it the way it's out of the box. But it's just another one of those things where you don't think about it, but it makes total sense when you look at how big an iPhone is, how big a Samsung Galaxy is. Just to have that, thumb being able to just click, make the experience a little easier.
Cool, cool. Well, thanks, man. Thanks so much for joining me, and I trust that people got some value out of this. Like I said, our websites will be in the description of this video. I'd encourage you guys to look up Benchmetrics and both of our websites, and throw it in the comments if you have any additional questions, that sort of thing. And until next time, thanks so much.